Hi everybody, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. I'd like to dedicate this week's video to Meir and Shani Davidson. Mazel Tov upon your Chasana. May you build a Bayis Nema B'Yisrael. In this week's Parsha, we have a double Parsha Nitzav and Vayelech. It is also Rosh Hashanah in about a week from today, exactly a week from today. And in this week's Parsha, the Torah says, Re'ei nasati l'fanecha hayoim es hachayim v'es hatov as hamavis v'es hara. See that I put in front of you life and good, death and bad. So Rashi tells us that if a person does good, then he'll have life. And the Kli Yakar asks the following question: why is it then, if a person does good, then they'll have life? So the Torah first should have stated the good and then stated life. See, I've placed in front of you good and life, bad and death. If one follows the other, if you have good, then you'll have life. So the Kli Yakar explains as follows: a person shouldn't want to do good in this world just so that they have life. A person rather should want life in order to be able to have opportunities to do good. Do you want to just find ways of extending your life and the way for you to do that is you need to do good things, or is your entire life about doing good things? There was one time this film about a person who every time he did something at work, so he would stick his arm underneath something would read his arm and it would give him extra life. So he only went to work, or he only had a job in order to prolong his life. But Hashem wants that our life should be about doing good. And it's a similar thing we could say about money. Do you want money to be able to live, or is your life, or do you want to live in order to make money? Certainly, hopefully, we want money to be able to live an actual life. Not that our life should be around money. So now that we have that life, what are we going to do with that life? Is our life going to be about doing good for others? Or is our life only about myself? And the only way for me to have life is to have the good, and therefore the Torah wants to teach us, I'm giving in front of you life. Let life be your main focus. On top of this, imagine if the state of Pennsylvania or the entire American government would make an edict that prohibited all Jews from learning Torah. Now, you and I both know that if not all Jews, many, many Jews would instantly flock to their local synagogue, to their local shul, to their local yeshiva, and just cram in there and sit and learn. Why? In protest. Who are you to tell me what I can do with my life? Religious freedom, after all, and Torah is our treasure, Torah is our life, and people would cram in and protest. And imagine, hopefully, if the protest works, they lift the ban. Okay, you guys are right, you can sit and learn. Unfortunately, the next day, all the synagogues would be empty. Now, why is that? Well, somebody wrote on Facebook the other day that his grandfather got killed by Nazis just because he is Jewish, and therefore he's up in arms against all the anti-Semitism that's being flaunted today. But I would say back to this, okay, so now that you have the opportunity to be Jewish, you're running away from your Judaism as much as possible. So the opportunity that we have in life to be Jewish, if it was taken away from us, we would protest. Hashem is one day going to do the same thing. And he's going to do it in a different vein. And he's going to say, one day you are going to die. And at the point of death, or a few minutes before it, and certainly after death, we're going to have this great yearning to continue to live more. And God is going to decree, no, sorry, today is the time for you to die. No, how dare you? I want to live. What's life? Life means doing good, like we said. So Hashem says, but your whole life, were you living your life till now to do good? Or were you maybe doing good to be able to have a little bit more life? And when the edict is eventually going to come down, it's time for you to die. And guess what? That's the only guarantee in life is death. But guess what? The edict, that's not going to be reversed. And we're only going to appreciate life when it gets taken from us. Now, I don't want to leave you like feeling despondent that eventually we're going to die. and things are better. No, no, no. This hopefully will infuse with you the feeling to make something of your life. And how long you're going to live? If you look at everything that happened this past year, everybody knows somebody that passed away. And if you look in the obituary section, there's everything. The only thing that they have in common is that once upon they were alive and now they're all dead. Yes, most of them were older people, but some of them were young. Some of them were wealthy. Some of them were poor. It doesn't matter what your status was. People pass away, and you got to start living. Life, in a certain sense, can be compared to the person that misses their flight, and they're stuck in the terminal, and there's a whole bunch of other people stuck in the terminal, and no planes are going out for the next who knows how long. And finally, your name is called on the loudspeaker. So-and-so, please come to the gate. You are now allowed to take off. You're one of the select few that can take off. In a certain sense, that's death. You get to go home. Now, the exciting part about being in this particular terminal that we live in is that there's so much to do, and that what there is to do is not get lost in the duty-free shop and not get lost at some bar or club that's waiting for you, but rather there's many opportunities in this terminal called Earth that we can do that makes our return home that much more exciting. I just want to leave you with the story that I just heard from Rabbi Schaefer. I never knew this. I'm kind of a sports fan. I'm surprised I never heard this story. But there was a football player. His name was Barrett Robbins. Barrett Robbins played for the Oakland Raiders back in 2003. And the Oakland Raiders were about to go to the Super Bowl. They were playing on Sunday. And on Friday, Barrett Robbins went missing. They couldn't find him Friday. They couldn't find him Saturday. And they played the Super Bowl without him. He was an all-pro center. He was a good player. And he was so good that the team obviously needed him. The team lost big time. But Barrett Robbins said afterwards that he woke up thinking that he already won the Super Bowl, and then he realized later that he blew it. Everything that he had worked for from the time that he was a kid, went through all the schooling, all the challenges that he had to overcome to finally get to the NFL, and then get to the NFL, and then finally the big day that every single football player wishes that they can be of is in his grasp. And he falls asleep and he wakes up in Tijuana on drugs. He had crossed over the border. And by the time he woke up, unfortunately, he then went to a rehab center, unfortunately for him, for 30 days. But basically, he blew it. And the question we have to ask ourselves in life is, our big day is going to be the day that we pass away. And we have to ask ourselves just one question. Are we going to blow it? Or when that day comes, can we say we actually won our own Super Bowl? Rosh Hashanah is upon us. Rosh Hashanah is a scary day for most, but really if you use the day as a day of introspection, then really it should be a day of incredible happiness. But yes, that day is the day that the books of who will be alive will be in front of us, who will be dead are inscribed in front of God, rather. And he's going to seal us in one of those. And like I said before, many people know people that passed away this past year, unfortunately, and they didn't make the final cut. But my fervent prayer and wish is that everyone out there lives this year and we're able to see Mashiach come. But make sure to grasp the moment, make each and every day count, make each and every year count, and make sure that you never in your life say, I really blew my life. Have a great, great Shabbos. Have a great, great holiday. Thank you for listening.